You should have me. Let me know when you could hear me is the thing. And it is Tuesday. After the big race weekend, oh yeah. Hopefully everyone got to make it out to Havasu. And let's go see. It looks like we got something new in the shop. Something that everyone has been highly anticipating. The future is here. Everyone got to make it out to There are stupid Shox, and then there are smart Shox. Oh yeah. How did we get our hands on this, Just?
Well, we have a lot of friends in low places, and we were able to scoop us a smart Shox car before anybody else can buy one. Hopefully that means that we're doing something right. People want to help us out, and that way we can be first to test and first to perfect and first to market for you guys. We'll have everything for this car before you can actually buy one.
So break this down, Justin. We got smartphones now, we got smart watches, and now we got smart Shox.
Chase is kind of on a mission today. I think because I'm kind of like a little slower and quieter, he's going to ramp up the backside of the camera and try and make up for it.
I'm trying. Someone's got to make up for your backside here.
All right, sounds good, Chase. So today, thank you guys for tuning in. We're going to show you everything that we've learned on smart Shox. And that's basically going to allow you to know how they work. Everybody wants to know what's involved in this stuff. And we're going to show you that right this second before anybody else is going to explain it and before you can even buy one of these things. So what you probably do know is on the 2021 Can-Am, you have a smart Shox option. And that is similar to what Polaris has as a Dynamics shock option. And that is basically computer controlled valving adjustments. It's compression and rebound. And it is using sensors on the car that are taking into consideration acceleration, throttle position, braking, turning degree, and on this Can-Am, it also takes into consideration shaft speed. And that's kind of important because if it takes into consideration shaft speed, that means in essence the computer knows how hard you hit something and it can ramp the compression up a little bit more, whereas a Dynamics system does not sense shaft speed. It just turns things up and down, not knowing whether you hit it hard or hit it soft.
Wow.
So in a lot of ways, computer-wise, algorithm-wise, the smart Shox system is smarter than a Dynamics is. And they've had a year or two to actually perfect what they've got and kind of improve on the dynamic stuff.
So this is the direct rebuttal against the Polaris for Can-Am. Finally, it's about time. Come on, Can-Am.
I don't know. They have to try and beat each other at whatever they've got out for options. So I suppose this would be Can-Am's comeback to Polaris's Dynamics. But Can-Am takes a long time to bring things to market. They probably had it sometime in a similar range, and they just took a couple more years to work on it. But we have actually, if you look at this car, you can see it's dusty. And that is because we were actually driving it this morning. It used to be new, but we knocked that new right off this sucker in about, I don't know, what we got, 80 miles on it?
Something like that. How many miles we got now, Justin?
Enough, that's for sure, for us to get a first impression on how the car works, how it rides, how it reacts, and comparing it to previous years all bone stock. And we actually took our Ernie's car out and we compared Gold Member, and we took it out and we compared this car to that car with all of our internals on older shock systems and compared ride quality. So what was that? Soon we're going to have a video for you where we're going to do kind of like an unboxing and an opinion and a little bit more information on this car, strictly on the whole car, and we're going to go over Shox too. But today all we're going to do is talk about smart Shox stuff. That's mainly what people want to know, and that's what we deal with for the most part. So the computer system in here has a very smart algorithm compared to any of the other ones when it comes to shock adjustments. It does work faster than a Dynamics. It takes into consideration more inputs and sensors than a Dynamics. So in theory, it should work better than a Dynamics. Having driven it this morning, I can tell you that the body roll control is really nice. Nosedive is much less than previous cars. Rear squat is much less than previous cars. And the car actually is very plush in the chop chatter all the way up to about a foot tall whoop. Anywhere in that range, the car is really a pleasure to drive. But as soon as the whoops get over a foot tall, Mitch, you'd say probably a foot and a half, maybe just a hair over a foot, honestly.
That might be even a little too much.
You think add a foot? Okay, so how about this? So from chop chatter to 10-inch tall stuff, it's actually a pleasure. But Mitch will back me up. As soon as you get over a foot, this thing picks up a nasty bite that will actually hurt your spine. It really, really will. It gets immediately stiff, I think way too soon, and it just starts to hurt. You will bounce inside the seat yourself. Your foot will bounce off the pedal. It's so hard and stiff.
It's like a skateboard.
Exactly like skateboard, but you know, it's what's weird is it's plush and then it turns into a skateboard midway.
Very similar to the problems that we had with the Dynamics too.
Yeah, so Dynamics on the Polarises, the front was a little bit on the plush side, a little too soft, too long, and the rear got stiff too quick. So it was kind of backwards or opposite front to rear, and the car's had a ton of bucking because of that, and we cured that obviously. I'm glad to see personally that the car doesn't ride amazing everywhere, because that means we're going to have lots to do and we can actually make it work really good. Another thing that we noticed is the car sat about 13 inches off the ground when we picked it up, and right now it's on the jack so you can't really see it, but after just a couple hours of testing the car, it was down to about 11 inches. So ride height is going to be a continuing thing to deal with, which means spring kits are going to be a must. It doesn't look like they've gone to a higher quality spring in this car than they have in previous years, and so the settling is probably going to be a consistent issue.
What do we have right now for this car?
Right this second, we have dual race spring kits available for this car. That is because our existing spring kits are going to work immediately on this car without any issues, and we will have an installation instructional for you guys here shortly, and we will be adding the 2021 to the list of years that our spring kits will work for, and we'll probably get that done tomorrow. Hopefully, remind me, Mitch, and I'll get that on the website. But spring kits are available right now. What do you got?
Not only did we get this car dirty, Justin, why is there a shock missing off of it?
Oh yeah, there happens to be one off there. I wonder, did we get a car that has 3 shocks?
I think
brand
maybe
new?
is that a new thing? 2021?
Yeah,
Tri-shock?
2021. They only,
Tri-shock.
we got one peg leg, that's for sure. No, it is because we have already pulled one apart to show you guys how this stuff works. So if you're a techie like me, you're going to enjoy this part. Do you guys have any questions before I go into the details on the inside? Matt, you look like you've got one. Nope. No, he's just constipated. Okay, so.
Hold on real quick. I'm going to give one fish a chance here to go live with us before we get into the nitty gritty. Nick 413. Oh, he's connected. Nick, what's going on, brother? You're driving in FaceTime and I like your style, man. Where are you at? What's your question? What do you drive?
I'm in the SoCal. I have a 2016 Razor Turbo. So it's got the Fox internal bypass shocks on it. Just curious what my ride height should be with 30-inch tires. I got spare tire rack in the back and some tools and cooler full of beer and stuff.
With 30s, we'd probably see that car 14 3/4 in the back and 15 and a half in the front, Mitch?
Sounds about right.
Is that about right? Like 15 and a half in the front?
Yep.
Let's just round that to 15 and a half front, 15 rear, and that is with you in the car. If you can't do that, then have somebody else sit in the car when you measure it, okay?
Awesome. And then when I have it cranked down that much, that's about where I have it. On the small little bumps, it's just harsh. Is that normal?
It is, but if it's stock, have you done anything to the shock yet? Have you got spring kits or internals?
Not yet. I'm planning on bringing my car to you guys and having you guys do everything. So
if it's all stock, then that's absolutely normal. If you raise the car higher, it's going to get worse. If you lower the car a little bit, it's going to get a little better. But when you lower the car a little bit, you lose other things too. So I would just wait until we can do the internals and spring kit for you, and it's going to be night and day, and the plush factor, the chop and chatter is going to be gone. Same with big whoops.
awesome.
All right, brother. Hey, send us your shirt size in the direct message, and we'll send it out a shirt today. That way you have one for when you bring your car in.
Yep.
Cool. Thanks a lot.
Thanks, man. Have a good day.
All right, pay attention while you're driving. Have a good one. It's going to make you sign off, brother. Have a good one. All right, Justin, give us a little recap for those who just signed in.
So we're talking about smart shocks on a 2021. We have already tested one, and we have the shock completely apart, so we can tell you and show you how this stuff works. On a dynamic system in comparison, we would have an electronic adjuster in the compression adjuster location. So on the bridge of the shock, this one's upside down, but you'd see a dynamics adjuster mechanism, which is basically a high-speed magnet with a wire running out of it to control that system. Now on this shock, if you go back over to this shaft, which we've taken out, this would be the shaft that you see coming out of the shock. And on the lower loop, we've got a wire coming out of the Shox smart shock system. This is a computer controlled wire, right? It's going through the inside of the shaft, coming up through the shaft, and as it reaches the piston, we've got an adjuster mechanism, and this is your magnet on the shaft. Inside this, I'll show you in just a second, the adjuster and the magnet that does 60 adjustments per second or so is inside this mechanism right here. Now, the piston for this is sitting on top, like so, just like a normal system, and the valving works just like a normal shock does. Here's how the electronic adjuster actually functions. So if this had a nut on it holding the piston in place, you could see there's a giant hole down the center of this shaft. I'm going to pull the piston out of the way so it makes it a little easier for us to see it. That hole continues down inside this adjuster mechanism, and these holes are where that fluid is actually going. Through the center hole, into the adjuster, out of the adjuster, out of these bleed holes, away from the piston, and it's bypassing the valving on the piston. Let's open this up. Inside the magnet adjuster is this plunger. Not sure if you can see it, but that's a needle-shaped or cone-shaped plunger on the inside, and that cone-shaped plunger is connected to the magnet. That cone-shaped plunger is coming up through the center of that hole, and that is what's actually adjusting oil flow 60 or so times a second to stiffen or soften the shock. If you look at the other end, this hole coming through what would be the shaft and around the piston is where this plunger is sealing. As the plunger comes up, it's shutting this hole off and allowing more or less oil to bypass the piston. So if the plunger is all the way down and you're overflowing or maximum flowing the hole through the center, then you have the softest ride quality. As that plunger raises up and chokes off the flow in this shaft hole, it starts to stiffen up or get more compression. Now, looking at this, I can tell you that this smart system does not adjust compression and rebound separately. As this system is functioning, moving in and out and controlling oil flow, it is limiting or opening up a port that will be controlling both compression and rebound together. As you shut off a free bleed hole, which is what this is, a free bleed or bypass hole, as you shut that off, you're forcing more oil through the piston valving in both directions. So as this flow is choked up, this piston starts to actually function more as it's used in both compression and in rebound directions. So I don't think that you could physically call this, a compression and rebound adjustable system. It is compression rebound together. It literally is just choking off a free bleed hole to get your compression and rebound valving to start functioning more and more together. So as you get more compression and stiffer, you get more rebound and slowing that down at the same time. That may not be good, and that's probably why these things have a little bit of a, I shouldn't say a little, they have a big bite to them as you start to turn the compression up to the stiffer settings from soft. It really starts to get a nasty bite to it in both directions, both compression and rebound. You guys have any questions on that?
Yep. Jeremy Hallberg wants to know, with all the electronics going into everything, if the electronics on this fail, does it leave settings where they are, or do they just fail into a certain position?
Mitch, can you tell if that adjuster is when it's not powered, is it's completely shut or open?
I would imagine it would be just like a dynamics.
It would be shut.
If it's no power or voltage going to it, it automatically shuts it off.
Yeah, so to answer your question then, when the power is not on, then the system is all the way stiff. So if you had a failure, then that one shock is going to go full stiff, to answer your question. That also means that you can't take the shock apart without having power to the system to allow it to have some free bleed. Yeah, Matt.
Got another great question. Kurt McMichael wants to know, I have a 2019 Can-Am RC Turbo R, and I go 90% Glamis, 10% Moab. If I were to buy a new Can-Am, would you buy the Smart Shox or a new RC with IQS?
It's a really, really good question. I think that the standard shock with IQS will ride better. I think that this car, and Mitch can actually give his opinion too, having driven it today, I think this car has a nasty bite to it, that you're never going to get out of it if you left it alone. We're going to have to get inside of it and modify it. And the standard shock on the previous years don't have that bite to it. If you put IQS on it, then you have three-way adjustability, just like this does, but it rides better. So, Mitch, what would you think?
I mean, I think putting a spring kit on Smart Shock would definitely help some of that biteness and stiffness that the car has.
To keep the ride height up so it doesn't hit the bump stage early?
Yeah, maybe bucking off of bottoming out or something like that. But yeah, it is very, very stiff. It feels like you're hitting a wall after that 10-inch whoop feel or anything bigger than that.
So to answer his question, you would do an older, or you would do like a standard shock package with IQS?
Absolutely, yeah.
Okay. So how about this? Which one do you think that you would rather have, a Smart Shox car with internal work and spring kit, or would you rather have a standardized shock package like a 19 with IQS and internals?
It's a good question. I'd probably go Smart Shock at that point with internals and spring kit, just because of the options that
the adjustability
options.
Oh, and the options we're talking about.
Yeah, the other options that we're going to get to here.
New stuff coming. What are you holding out on us, man?
So I actually agree with you on that one, Mitch. I think that if you're comparing shocks that have been worked by us on both cars, a 19 with IQS and work shocks, a 2021 with Smart Shocks that have been worked by us and spring kit, I think I'd go Smart Shock.
Yeah.
Because then you have the computer controlling it with body roll and throttle and brake and shaft speed, and that could really be a benefit. We're going to get the bite out of it between the spring and the internal mods. So that means a 2021 would ride awesome and would have computer aided drivability. I think I would go Smart Shock with internal mods. Hopefully that was kind of complicated, but we answered his question, then we went a little further too.
Nathan Clark, 635, you guys are badass. Rich Fortin just wants to give us a little wave.
What's happening, Rich?
Hudmar's giving us a thumbs up. Riley Gilman says, Chase, you're a sexy beast and you need a raise. One of those things is true.
Well, you know what? Hey, you know what? You are clearly a fan. You must, here he's going to give you the best he's got. There it is right there. That's the best he's got. The back half. Dragon too. Grr.
And then we have a real question here, and it's actually a pretty good one. Tahoe Adventures, do you think the bite, in parentheses, can be fixed via update, or is it a hardware limitation?
Oh, I think it's definitely update.
For sure.
Looking at the inside of the shock, we can kind of see where that bite's coming from, and it's something that we can obviously modify as part of our internal package. I don't think that we're going to have a software issue that's creating that, but I will let one thing out of the bag. When it comes to software, we will have tunable systems for you to use that are software based. That is an option coming for this car. It is not going to be available for the next couple of months, but it will be part of our package on this car.
Should we just let everybody else know that everything else we're kind of coming out with?
Okay.
Possible options.
All right. Well, why don't you just go down the simple stuff? So we have.
You won't. Starting to ask already.
We have. We're going to have valving and tubing, or valving and bypass tubes.
Basic stuff, obviously, just like everything else.
Which is what everything else is that we do right now.
Right.
But
Tell me
what
more.
else do we have?
We have a DSC option.
Which DSC stands for what?
Dual speed compression adjuster. Well, there's an A in there too, but dual speed compression. So basically having I forget what we came up with that on, but 24 clicks.
Well, so you've got 24 high and 24 low, and you have 3 times each one of those.
Yep.
Okay, so that's 750 different adjustments. So what Mitch is talking about is taking the cap, removing the cap from this adjuster mechanism that's not used, and we would put a standard high and low speed adjuster in this and still use the Smart Shock assembly. That means that you guys would have high and low speed compression adjustments, 24 clicks of each, in addition to the 3 adjustments that the Smart Shock system has. So that means you could have it 4 clicks in on high, you could have it 3 clicks in on low speed, and then once you've set that, now you have 3 adjustments on the dash that control that one way or the other. So in essence, you would have 75 adjustments, a third of which are on the dash, if you wanted to upgrade the system. I mean, just badass. So there's also another option. You could couple IQS on this system with Smart Shocks. So we could do an electronic adjuster inside the compression adjuster, giving you 3 adjustments on the fly. And in each one of those settings, say on low or smooth or plush for our IQS setting. You then have computer control throughout that all the time, and you have 3 adjustments on smart shocks inside that soft adjustment for IQS. So that turns IQS into a 9-position system that's computer controlled.
It's pretty bitchin'.
Pretty badass.
Yeah.
We have even more stuff coming for that, but I don't think we're going to go that far. We're just going to give you a couple things that are coming out for this.
Pretty exciting.
Yeah,
I'm super
it's going to be
excited
badass.
for that one.
Matt, what do you got?
Hey, Mitch, you want to wave to JR?
JR, hey buddy, how's it going, man? Good to see you.
Hey, since we're getting a little bit sidetracked, I'm going to go way sidetracked. I want to say thank you to everybody that was at the Havasu Race YouTuber World Championships. We met a lot of people that we've never met before that are fans of ours. I was really humbled and impressed. A couple of guys that we talked to, no, more than a couple, probably more like 20 or 30 guys that we talked to, came up and said hi, shook our hand, have our gear, and I said, hey, how do you like our stuff on your car? Like, I don't have a car, I just got your shirt. Just wanted to say hi. I'm like, okay, sounds good, man.
And
thank you.
watch the videos.
And watch his videos. So you guys, thank you very much for your support. We really appreciate every bit of it. And thank you to everyone who has videoed our stuff at a race and then sent us that video after the fact. And you do that, we're going to send you apparel every single time. So thank you guys very much.
Ryan Van Valkenburg loved the hole shot at UT Worlds. I don't think he's talking about your hole shot there, Maddie. But
I don't know. I kind of failed on mine. I think I didn't do a very good job, man. He got us off the line. I'm not sure if he jumped the flag a little or if I was sleeping. Let's just go with I was sleeping. But he jumped out, and then we motored past him just a little bit at the end. And I apologize to him if I kind of moved over at the end too to kind of take the lead we barely had, but we got it.
Billy Long needs some shock therapy gear. Wasn't your car just in here, my friend? Come on. We'll get you taken care of.
And Billy, thank you for the text the other day. It was really awesome, and the offer to go up and hang out on the boat. Appreciate
Judging
that.
by how you drove that race, Billy, we'll get you as much merch as you want, my friend.
Yeah, for sure.
Special Trav wants to know, why is the XDS reservoir on the shock while the XRS has them mounted on the cage?
No. So this is a front shock in the vise, and the fronts on both of those cars have the adjuster on the bridge. And turn around and look at the rear. This one has it on the reservoir on the cage in the rear. So this is standard stuff. It's the same as an RS. To answer your question, you said special what?
XDS.
Why was he special?
No, so
special, was he special Randy, you said?
Special Trav.
Special Trav? Why is Trav so special?
We got Billy Long live and on the air. What's
up?
going on, brother?
Hey, Billy, you up in Alaska, man? Where you at?
So you just got her feeding the chickens. I didn't mean to get my paper up there.
Well, it's going to happen if you sign in, brother. We're going to get you.
Okay. Well, I'll stay in for a little bit. I'm what you're saying, so I'll be quiet.
Hey, Billy, we need you to talk about your race, man.
Yeah, you did. Had a hell of a... You were first Can-Am across the line, weren't you?
Oh, boy. Well, probably the roughest race I've ever seen in my life.
That's a fact.
That was a driver's race. Even just finishing, I believe in finishing important, but I really want to win. That's my ultimate goal. But I'll tell you, if you just finish that race, I don't care whether you're new or vet, that was probably one of the most difficult races I've ever been on.
If people didn't know about what everyone was talking about for that race, I'll tell you. It was extremely rocky, extremely technical, not very many straightaways to open up the car, and any of the turns were completely rutted in, as deep as the tire was all the way up to the hub or the lug nuts. And then they put you through some rock gardens, they run you through some ridge lines that, if you miss the course right or left, you're gonna drop off the ridge. And what was like an average speed of 30 miles an hour, I mean something ridiculously slow. And then the dust, because a lot of it was in canyons, and the dust wouldn't go anywhere. So now you're where you can't see, and you're running through ruts that are full of rocks that are going to give you flats or rip front ends off. And to be able to survive the race, I think, was probably the biggest accomplishment for anyone who was in it.
How did you like that ridge? What was it, mile 22 or 23? Where through the steep,
the Go Trail.
The steep rollers that were next to impossible to try. You could go 10 miles an hour. That was probably one of the hardest points. I know a lot of co-drivers got sick on that.
That's a fact. I mean, some of those ridge lines were literally, like high center skid plate type stuff, and you're coming at it, and you don't know if it's a ridge drop off that you're going to air and eat it, or go too slow and high center it, or if it comes it's not straight and it goes this way and you miss it. But then the next one is like that, and if you come up too slow and you look like an idiot because you're going too slow. But like, yeah, 10 mile an hour is max. If you went 11 miles an hour, you jump off the end of the thing and endo on the backside.
Yeah, no, I thought so there's an ice car sitting there, get pieces ready to go.
Look at that thing, Justin.
I wish you guys
Ice racing, so bitchin'.
Oh, and then you got a plane in there too, Matt Black. Wow, is that a crop duster? Dusty McQueen, murdered out.
Dusty McQueen.
It's an 180 horse with 10 to 1s.
Is that a super decathlon?
What's that? Yeah, this thing I can land almost in the hangar.
That's crazy. Billy, well, no wonder you're finishing these races, man. You're up in the air, going way faster than a race car half the time.
You got the smoothest suspension out of anybody in the airplane, that's for sure.
Oh, they actually box for, but they blow every 3 seconds. And what you guys do for all the races, their shock therapy. I think you guys are probably the most. You are the leading people when it comes to shocks. Without you guys, there's not a lot of people that can race or afford without your support. And I personally, I really appreciate it. You guys came through in a pinch, and I mean, that was huge. My car was, it was rolling left to right a lot. Once we got the sway bars done there, it changed the game, especially the power steering. That really helped out a lot too.
Thank you very much, Billy.
One more thing.
Yeah, go ahead.
Look at that.
Oh my God, Billy, I'm coming over to your house. Hold on, Justin. We got a pit bike with tracks, a 110L. Dude, oh my God, Billy, we just became best friends. Holy shit, Billy. I'm gonna need you to send me your address because I'm gonna be coming over next week, and I'm gonna send you as much merchandise as I can so I could get you to let me ride that thing.
I live in Alaska, so good luck. I mean, you're gonna have a hell of a time.
Well, I hear there's like 6 months of the year with no sun out there. I hear there's like six. Again. I hear there's like 6 months of the year where there's no sun out there.
Yeah, that's correct. Can't ruin you guys' deal.
No, you're good, man. Actually, hey, Bill, you're cutting in and out, so we need you to get some better service next time when you sign in on Thursday. We'll have you back.
I'm out.
Love the garage, Billy. It's gonna awesome.
Billy, thank you, man.
He's off. That was so cool, man. Talk about a garage.
Well, you made Chase's day. That's for sure. There was enough toys in there to make anybody happy. I loved it. Especially that super decathlon. I want to go for a flight with him and land at 20 mile an hour in like 20 feet.
Never seen one murdered out like that.
I think it was badass.
Oh yeah.
He had extra storage on the bottom of it, probably for like hiking stuff, and go. He can pretty much land on the side of a mountain and go hike and then take off again.
Yeah.
In Alaska, I guarantee is what he's doing.
Yeah.
So go ahead, Mitch, before we go over the last little bits on the inside of the shop.
Pete Holloway, I don't have a car, but watch a lot of your videos. When I get a car, I'm going to get your stuff.
Thanks, Pete. Appreciate it, man. Right on.
Frank G. Life, he liked Billy's mullet.
Sweet mullet.
When you live in Alaska and have all those toys, you wear anything you want. I love me a mullet, though. I definitely do. So, shock-wise, if you guys take a look, bypass tubes are pretty standardized. Actually, they have more ports than previous years, which is one of the reasons why it's plush and the little stuff. But there's a lot of changes going to go on this assembly when we start modifying tubes. And so I'll turn these around so everybody doesn't get a really good idea what they can do.
Oh, come on, Justin.
Ta-da! Dun, dun, dun. All right, so that's about it for the inside of this shock. If you guys have any questions on how this stuff works, then go ahead and put it in the comments below. We'll try and answer some of your questions. We are going to have this car out tomorrow morning for the first round of testing with all of our stuff on the inside. We'll give you some reports on this in the next few days. We'll probably have kits perfected within the next few weeks. A lot quicker than we normally would because the car is so close to what we already have notes for. It's going to be a home run for us right away. That means if you go and buy yours and in the next 2 weeks and you don't like the bite that's in it, then just give us a call. We'll knock that out and make it plush for you. Any questions before we get out of here and call this a short
I had Franco
Tuesday
here wanting to go live with us, and I got him. Franco, what's going on, brother?
What's up, guys?
How's it going?
Justin?
Going great, man. What?
Congratulations over the weekend. We were out there supporting you guys. Did talk to Savino. Had a blast with Savino. We were drinking his lunch, as a matter of fact, if you know what that means.
Perfect. Well, then we're gonna be friends, Frank. I guarantee it.
Yeah, definitely. I have a quick question. I do have a Turbo RR S 2021 that I actually took out there to the races. I've been meaning to find out what the length is with limiting straps.
On the front shocks, you want to know what the
Strap kit on this now. Front and rear, what's the stock length?
So the front shocks are 32.25 inches overall, and you're going to want to set them up to be 31.25 inches overall when the strap is on the car, adjusted, hanging on the tire, jacked up off the ground. Mitch, do you remember the overall in the back? 40 something, isn't it?
You're gonna make me think on that one. Well,
I know, right? How about let's just measure one. You got a tape measure real quick?
There's one hanging right here. You
got a tape measure on you?
Yeah.
All right. We'll get you a number right this second, bud.
Since Mitch doesn't have his Holy Grail Bible available.
Well, usually it's off the top of his head.
Yeah.
I still don't know how he does it.
I'm slacking.
But
Sorry.
he does. So let's go overall. So factory is 41.25. That means you're going to set it up at 40.25 in the back on the strap. Yeah.
So it's an inch less than what it's.
It is. We want you to start there, and the reason is the straps are going to stretch the first 100 or 200 miles. So start there, drive the car, come back in the garage after a couple hundred miles, jack it up, and measure it again. After you've got them to stretch, then I want you to set it about half an inch shorter than it is overall. So after they've stretched, then you're going to go somewhere in the middle.
Sounds good. Thank you very much for the information. I will get on that today so that I can have them ready for Glamis. And how you guys will be out there, right?
Yeah, we're going to be there for Halloween. We're going to work 4 days that weekend, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. So if you're in Glamis, come by vendors and say hi. Thanks for supporting at the race, man, and coming by the booth and saying hi. We really dig it, hearing from everybody.
Chase sent Chase the video of him in the helicopter while you were coming in the race car and he was following you, and then Matt Burke also was coming. I sent him the video on Facebook, actually.
Right on.
Awesome.
Is that when Dominic was doing was spinning the helicopter over the car?
Yeah.
Were you guys on the hillside?
Yep.
We were right at the finish line, yeah.
Okay, awesome.
Oh, right on, man. Thanks for all the videos. We really appreciate that stuff. We'll always get you taken care of with some merch.
In that case,
I'll keep sending those over to you guys.
we're going to owe you a couple shirts, man. Send us a direct message
That's fact.
with your address.
Sounds good.
Hey, thanks for supporting. Really appreciate it, man. Let us know how it goes with the straps.
No problem, man.
It's going to make you kick yourself off here. Send me that direct message.
Will do. Thank you.
All right, man. See you
brother.
later. Bye.
UAE Pros has a really good question here. Can I buy revalve shocks with spring kit without sending my shocks over to you? Because shipping my shocks from Dubai costs a lot, nearly the cost of the shocks itself.
Yes, we do this quite often. UAE Pros.
Yep.
Right? Okay, we do this a lot. We can buy brand new sets of shocks direct from Can-Am and Fox, and we'll do all of our work and send you that set, and then once you get them, you can sell the set you've got and recover most of the money. Now, I assume this is for an X3, or did he say?
He did not say.
He did not say. Okay,
Nope.
so on average, bypass shocks are about $5,000 a set, maybe a little less. And then non-bypass shocks, depending on the car, can be between $3,000 and $4,000 a set. That's brand new. And then on top of that, we do our work and send it to you. But that's the cheapest way to go out of the country, is buy a new set and then sell what you have.
Mr. ASAFM earlier in the chat room asked, do you have any plans on opening an affiliate in Israel? We need to get some stuff going out
Yeah,
there.
actually, we have dealer options that we're looking into, both in the UAE, Dubai, and in Israel. We have one in Russia currently that we are in the middle of, and a few other countries. We already have dealers in many countries, but we're going to be setting up specific ones as kind of like the go-to with a lot of things in stock on the wall. So yes, we're working on that.
Justin, you know anything coming up for the 2021 Polaris General?
Ooh, I don't think there's any changes between the 21 and the 20. So everything that we have for the current General will carry over in the 21. You've got spring kits, internal shock mods. We're going to have sway bar links, and various other things too. And IQS, of course.
We got last live one of the day.
Last one. Okay.
Can't ask questions because he's just running the whole thing.
Right.
What's going on, brother? Where are you at? What are you driving? And what's your question?
Hello. Actually, I'm from Brazil, and
Right on.
I don't drive right now. But I'm looking into getting an X3, and I wanted to know if it's worth it to get an RC instead of XRS. I don't do much crawling. I do mostly mud. But I think it would be like sturdier. It would be stronger for me.
So the difference between an RC and an RS is very, very minimal. You've got some gearing changes and a few other things, but really there's no change in the suspension design. There's no change in how the shock functions, and there's no change in the actual chassis. The strength is identical between the two. Matt, do you know any other options that are different between the two? But really nothing in the strength department.
No.
So I don't think there's a big difference between the two. I think I would buy the cheaper one, honestly, because from a strength standpoint, there really isn't a difference.
Front diff.
Oh, okay.
Whichever one you get the better deal on.
That's right.
Okay. Yeah, I think that's it. I mean,
Easy.
you mentioned something in your right height video about ground clearance. What you guys can do about that?
So our spring
Out and stuff.
Our spring kits are going to raise the ride height from the factory position up quite a bit. If you've got a car, for instance, with a 30-inch tire, an X3, with a factory 30-inch tire, you can expect 16.5 inches of ground clearance, maybe as much as 17, depending on how tall the tire really is, with our spring kit, which is about 3 inches taller than the way they come. So a little bit more ground clearance is a good thing, and our spring kit will take care of that.
Even if we're coming out part, like it has like about an inch, you said, of ground clearance with the shocks bottoming out.
That's not going to cure the overall ground clearance when it's completely bottomed. So we're not changing the geometry of the car, we're just raising the ride height for ground clearance at ride height. When it comes to ride height,
If I send my shocks to you, you can fix that, right?
yeah, we can raise the ride height just a little bit when it's completely bottomed out if we get the shock. Or if you say buy a new set from us, we can ship them to Brazil. You can sell your set. Either way, we can raise the ride height just a little bit. Especially on a two-seater, it's pretty typical. We'll do that anyway.
Yeah. Okay, got it. Thank you.
You got it, man. Have a good one in Brazil. Send Chase your information to private messenger. We'll get you a t-shirt down there.
Okay, got it.
Thanks,
Have a
man.
good day,
Have
bud.
a good one.
It's going to make you kick
All right.
yourself off. Have a good one.
Mitch has got some questions and we're out of here.
Yep, Wanbot12 just tuned in. Did you guys talk about the Polaris clutch recall? Just curious on your opinion and what you've experienced with the new clutch design.
We have not talked about the clutch recall. In my experience, we've seen the XP Pros a couple where the clutching was off and it would smoke belts pretty quick, brand new. Also, the issue with their clutch, from what I am told, is a failure in the primary, and usually it fails on the first ride. If it doesn't fail on the first ride, it will never fail. It's not one of the clutches that has a problem. So either you got one or you don't, and you know on the first ride whether you do. I've never had one blow apart on any of the Pros that we've ever driven, including the one that we had in Baja for 1,500 miles. So it's not something we see a lot. It's clearly something that they've seen enough to do a stop sale order, but it's not a big deal from what we've seen.
Slowgy37, what belt do you guys run for your races?
We run a factory Can-Am belt. We have tried all of them, and we've just had the best luck with the Can-Am belt.
And Send It Rob, X3 Max to you and Glamis for the 31st. You're doing ride improvement system and IQS for me. We'll see.
Right on, Send It Rob.
Yep.
We will help you send it further.
Got that.
Everything else we good, Matt? All right. So you guys, thanks for tuning in, talking about smart shocks, how they work, why they work, internal and mechanisms on what makes them work. The short story is, if you just tuned in, the computer-controlled system is badass. I mean, really badass. The shocks are plush until the whoops get over a foot tall, and then they get harsh, and it will bite you hard. So we're gonna have a lot available for this car to make it amazing and grab that bump stage on a progressive manner without biting your back and your butt cheeks at the same time. We have adjuster mechanisms for options for this. We have IQS options. We already have spring kit options, TLSs, tie rods, radius rods, everything we have ready for this car. Limit straps too.
Yep.
DSCs.
DSCs.
So we're gonna have a lot for you guys. Thanks for tuning in, letting us show you how smart shocks work. Makes us feel like we're smart too, even though we're not. If you guys have questions about this stuff, then put it in comments. We'll answer it as soon as we can. If you have questions about our products, then give us a call. 623-217-4959. And if you want to buy anything from us, please go to our website, shocktherapist.com. We will see you guys on Thursday.
Demon Racing. What's up? Later, Billy.